Should be on.
So hit record, right? Yep. And is it going?
They were giving us some
Yes.
trouble.
Thank you. Sorry, took me a minute.
I may go.
Yeah, we should be good.
All right. Well, it is 7:08 and we'll call this meeting to order. Ruth, would you take roll, please?
Andy Hitchcock,
Here?
Martin O'Toole.
Here.
Cindy Matija.
Here.
All right. We've got a couple things on our agenda tonight, the approval of minutes from the last meeting being the first. Has everyone had a chance to review the meeting minutes? Any questions, comments, or changes suggested?
No.
Nope. All right. Hearing that, I make a motion to approve the minutes as submitted. Ruth? Oh, I guess we need a second.
Second that.
Thank you.
Andy Hitchcock,
Yes?
Martin O'Toole.
Yes.
Cindy Matija.
Yes.
All right. That brings us to the other agenda item for tonight. It is BZA case number 23-09. Before we get into that, Bridie, would you please swear in our guests?
Sure. Whoever would like to speak tonight, if you could please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Fantastic. All right. Mr. Spoto, for your awareness, we typically have 5 members. It does require 3 affirmative votes for approval.
Okay.
You are welcome to table this until there are more people here. We can reschedule for next month.
I appreciate you guys being here. We'll go with what we got.
Fantastic. All right. So what we have in front of us is sort of a unique situation, an accessory structure in the front yard, which is kind of the side yard, so it's kind of a unique thing. Mr. Spoto, would you like to give us a little bit of background on what you're trying to accomplish?
Well, I have 2 vehicles. The garage that I primarily have now is enough for 1. And I have a pickup truck that I use for my work. And I want to house that, and plus I bought a lawnmower to cut my own grass from now on instead of paying big bucks to have it done. So I'm trying to consolidate it to make it easier for me and put up another building, a garage, so that I can house these 2 vehicles and other things along with maintenance of my yard.
Okay. Pretty straightforward as we've seen on the application.
Yeah,
Just- okay.
I want to side it exactly like the house, the roof will be the same. Along the Leeview Lane side, I will put Western Arbs in there so that the building eventually will be not even visible from Leeview if you're driving by it real quick.
Okay. You're welcome to continue to share throughout the evening, but if there's anything else.
Well, that's basically, it's a pretty simple thing that I want to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So you really are putting it into what I call your backyard?
Yeah, it's really my backyard.
Okay. So it's behind the house?
Well, this is the front of the house here, and
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah,
kind
so
of,
you're down with.
I'm going down Leeview.
Okay. Yeah.
Just off the drive, and I'm gonna go in like 15
Gotcha.
feet, so I can have a little turnaround and get in and out of there.
Or taking those nice trees.
That was mine.
The ones, those half pines that I got there now,
And for the record, could I have you just introduce yourself and where your property is located?
Yes, my name is Matt Davidson. I live at 800 Sunridge Lane, Caddy Corner across the street from there.
Got it. Thank you. Okay. So from the board, questions for our applicant?
I have a couple.
Okay.
Once we were talking about lighting, what kind of lighting are you putting on this?
Basically, there'll probably be like either 2 lights on the outside and then whatever inside, but nothing more than that.
Okay, and are you removing the trees that are there? That's another
There's
question.
gonna be, well, there's 1 big pine tree and there's 2 half pine trees now
Okay,
from where they cut for the wire, so they're kind of like one tree is kind of overgrown and it's already starting to show signs that it's gonna have to come down soon anyway. And I would replace, once the garage is up, I would replace that with Western Arbs or other pine trees or something like that to go along that side.
Where do you generally enter when you have guests?
When I pull my drive, it's right off of Leavview Lane.
Yes.
And I go basically right into my garage with my other vehicle, but my truck sits out the driveway.
Mhm. So you have because I saw you have a door to the right of the garage, so you also have an entry through the garage too?
There is a side door to the garage.
Mhm.
There's in the back great room,
Mm-hmm.
there's a door
Yes,
there, and there's one on the other side.
okay.
And then I have a door at the front of the house, which is showing a bell.
So generally your guests come in from the garage is what you're saying, like most of us? Okay.
Other questions, Cindy?
Yeah, I have one more, I'm sorry. The driveway that you're going to be, to the shed, is it going to be paved or are you doing it just gravel?
Concrete.
It's going to be concrete. Yours was concrete, I didn't
I have
recall.
a concrete drive, so I'm gonna do concrete back, and the pad of the garage will be concrete.
Okay. Thank you.
That is what I plan.
Marty?
Yeah, I had one topic on my mind. That when I looked at the image that was provided, the illustration or the picture of the design, is pretty straightforward. But then when I looked at the dimensions, I thought, well, that's a little bit bigger maybe than what one would guess just by looking at the scale of like the windows on the side of it. And one second, please. So if I may, and so if I'm reading it right, we're 16 feet wide, we're 30 feet deep.
Yes.
And so that's significant, right? And so would we characterize that as 2 cars wide and maybe 2 cars deep? Like how it's help me characterize how big this is.
My truck is 10 feet to 12 feet long. So, and then if I put equipment in front of that, there's really not gonna be much more room in there.
But it's 30 feet deep.
Yeah.
And so the reason I call that out is just that I wanted first of all to be aware that.
Well, I'm trying to go as big as I possibly can for my acreage, and if I'm gonna invest the money, I wanna make it as big as I can.
Yep, got it. I'm just calling it out because the illustration didn't jump out to me as being something that big. And then when I really looked at it and then looked at the property, I thought, well, it's not a shed. My first read of it was, oh, it's like a shed, and it's like it ain't no shed, right? I mean, it's a structure big enough to park 4 vehicles in, and probably more if you really squeezed it. Which is not fault finding. I'm just making sure we all see it for what it is, right? Okay, that was an observation. It wasn't really a question. It was an observation. But now, could you go back, Bridie, to the illustration of the property, to the schematic, right? And so that drawing, and maybe Dave, maybe this is a question for you, Dave. Is that drawing with the added piece there, the added structure, 16 wide and 30 deep? Is that actually to scale on the lot?
The lot is 330 feet deep.
So it wouldn't dominate the lot any more than that.
No.
Okay. All right. I was just wanted to calibrate out loud how big this thing is that we're talking about. Okay.
I have a question too, when you're saying that dimension-wise, when I was reading through the code, it says 100 feet away from can't be any closer than 100 feet away from the road. Do we know how far it is from the road?
Well, I was told that it was 20 feet from my lot line, which is 50 feet from the center of the road.
Okay, maybe I'm looking at the wrong.
So,
Because 100 feet, I'd be in the middle of my yard.
Yes.
yeah, so one of the things that I've found, and Dave, hopefully you can either confirm or give us better instruction, but because this is a corner lot, not only do we have the 20 feet, but we have an additional 5 feet requirement. Now, the code is vague, or I'll say silent, with regards to the front yard setback versus a side yard. So it's unique in that your front yard is So I guess my question is, would we mandate that it be at least 25 feet from the property line? And I asked for clarification because your application says that it's going to be 20 feet, but the drawing itself says it's 50 feet. And
That's in the center of the road.
okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out from the center of the road.
Okay.
Which
So you're
30
saying
feet from the
50.
center of the road is my property line, and then 20 feet from there.
Would you have a concern if you move that 5 feet further into your property?
No, I don't have a problem with that. It's just gonna be closer to the house then.
Yeah, and I don't want to presume that anything would be okay and that your application is what we're reviewing, but I also don't want to have to create yet another obstacle and another variance to get you within a different piece of the zoning code.
Right.
So if we were to make a motion to approve something instead of 20 feet at 25, you'd be willing to amend your application?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Do you require any sort of homeowners association approval?
No.
Okay.
The Bellwood Lake is a separate, it's funded by all the people in that area.
Okay. And then this is a question for Dave. I assume we're R1 zoning.
Yes,
I didn't see it on the
it
application.
is
I
our
assume.
yes.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
50 feet, I see where we are.
Kind of unique situation, if I could just say something, because of his location of his house on that lot with the front yard setback and, if it did have an address to leave you and it wasn't as long as part of the lot, I mean, it's kind of a unique situation with this gentleman, where he's at.
So by all intent and purpose, it's the side yard, except that you're on Leaveview and Leaveview technically becomes your front yard and
Yeah,
Bell is now the side yard.
So my
Yeah.
front door faces Bell, but my drive is on Levy.
So that's,
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And just as a courtesy to the crowd, I'm looking at my phone, I'm not multitasking or distracted, I'm looking at the materials on my phone. And so I'm not checking the ballgame scores. So if you wonder why is this guy on his phone, I'm just looking at the materials here, close up. Okay. But the Browns are gonna lose. So.
Cindy or Marty, any additional questions for the applicant?
No, my processing is that, as Dave said, it's a very unusual situation, right? Where the size of the lot and the configuration and the placement of things, yeah, it really is. It's a big judgment call. Yep. Trying to write anything else.
Okay. Mr. Spoto, do you have any other comments you'd like to share?
No, I think I said just about everything I possibly could on it. It's kind of straightforward and just whatever I can get away, get done, I would get done.
Okay.
He almost said get away with, but don't put that in the notes, Brian. Ruth, don't put the notes, he said, already get away with. Okay.
All right. Any other comments from Mr. Davidson? All right.
I will say one, he takes great care of his lawn and his property is beautiful and is enhanced since he moved in, so I went for nothing but the same with that village.
All right. I'm gathering my thoughts here relative to a motion. Just want to make sure I get this right. So, Bride, if you hear something funny,
Sure.
like,
I will.
tell me to start over. All right. So for BZA case number 23-09 for the property located at 99 Leaveview Lane, I will make a motion to approve an accessory structure in the front yard setback, subject to all village zoning requirements, including a 25-foot setback from the front property line. Can I get a second on that motion?
I'll second that.
All right. Any questions or comments on the motion? And I don't know if I need to add this, but just a revision of the application to show the accessory structure moving from 20 feet to 25 feet. Does that need to be included, or can we just,
As amended by the applicant.
okay,
Say that.
as amended by the
There
applicant?
you go.
Fair enough. With no comments or questions on the motion, I think we can take a vote. Ruth?
Andy Hitchcock,
Yes?
Martin O'Toole,
Yes.
Cindy Mateicha.
Yes,
All right. So before you leave, if you could amend this, I'll sign it and you'll be all set.
Okay.
Moving on to old business. Does not appear we have any old business. And then moving to new business, does not appear we have any new business unless there's something else in front of us. So with that, it is 7:24. We will adjourn the meeting.
well, that was
All right.
everything. I have a question, because I had everything in the wrong spot, because when I was looking at from the center of the street to being 100, we were
Well
saying
done.
it's 50.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So was I reading that wrong?
Good call.
Maybe I'm not completely, because when we were saying it's in 4.
Even walked over and looked at it today.
All right.
I thought it was 4.
Tough situation,
Yeah.
you know what?
Yes.
I think it's a good call.
So I was just trying to